All right, this is my old buddy's Pro Junior, which actually belongs to another mutual friend of ours. Said mutual friend gave it to said old friend, and I had done a bunch of work on this amp a few years back. Sorry about the abrupt change of focus. So we'll track down why the fuse blew, and the current player said it's a bit bright for him, so I got to remember what I did in this. But it's already got FNTs and a lot of replaced stuff, and I remember it sounding quite nice. I can see one bright cap I've put in there. That might be the place for me to start. But first of all, let me power this up with a current limiter. This is a negative feedback switch I put in, and we'll see what's going on. It may just be a bad pair of tubes as far as blowing fuses. Let's see. All right, powering it on with the light bulb limiter. It's not instantly blowing fuses. That's good. Maybe one of the situations where oh, got a bad tube. That would have blown a fuse if I did not have the light bulb limiter in place. So yeah, there's a little bit of discoloration. Glad you got to see the light show. And let me take a quick look at that tube socket. The solder joints look okay. Maybe pin 2 is a little bit problematic on this one here. So let me see if I can flow that one a bit better. I know you won't be able to see all these things. So let's see if I can help get you in on the conversation a little bit. See a little bit of a ring around pin 2. Trying to do this without burning anything else. This is an older Pro Junior. It's got leaded solder, so I can just reflow these. Don't have to remove the old solder first. That's nice. So I'm going to reflow these. And I might see a little bit of discoloration on this board that I'll investigate. I'll show you what I'm talking about in just a moment. I've already bumped up its screen grid resistors in the past. I might be seeing a little heater discoloration on the board over here. Let me show you that. It's hard to tell what's a shadow and what's discoloration. I'll be keeping an eye on that. Let me put a new pair of tubes in here and power it back on, and we will see. All right, new tubes in place. Let's power it on. Still very much with that light bulb limiter. That's with the volume all the way off. Let me power the amp off. And try a different 12X7 as well. This is an old, looks like a pull from a Fender. Yeah. Let's see, here's a Bone standard Egnator labeled soft. All right. I'll try a different phase inverter tube as well. I don't like the hum that we're getting. This is an old Electro Harmonix. Not an old, you know, in the last 10, 15 years probably. And those are very prone to noise and hum. It says Audio Classic, the tube, the sound. I don't know anything about Audio Classic tubes. Oh, well, they're not on the market now. much less hum. I'm looking at it and thinking, I cannot have been happy with this hum however many years ago when I did this. So I probably did not have this hum however many years ago when I did this. Let me try a different pair of EL84s just in case these aren't well matched. Common mode cancellation is everything when it comes to EL84s. Let's see, here's a pair of Sovtecs. Has less hum. This thing is very sensitive though, and when this is in place, the rear panel's in place, it's got the shielding. So let me put that against it and see where the hum level goes. Okay, yeah, this amp is going to be fine once this rear panel's in place. I think this pair of Sovtecs is just better matched than that pair of Mullards that I put in. This old Fender was noisy and hellish, and this Electro-Harmonix hummed even worse. So these tubes are just from my stash, no charge, and I will charge him for the EL84's pre-Putin prices. Let's put the rear panel on just to get rid of that hum, and I'm going to give the input jack and top panel a clean, and we'll see what this thing sounds like. I removed one bright cap I had added to this. This amp has, after the tone stack and volume pot, in stock form, it's got a 100 ohm resistor going to the grid of the next tube stage. And I took advantage of that and did a 470K, 470 picofarad thing there just to give it a little bit more snarl. And I think that's what the current owner slash player is thinking about when he says it's too bright. I also found that the Egnator labeled Sovtec I had in V1 was microphonic as hell and kind of went at high volumes. So it's got what did I put in there? An old tube from a Peavey, so probably an American-made 80s tube, says Peavey. And seems to be fine. So here is with that Bennett that you saw in part 1 of this video series. So now it's a little bit dark without that cap that I removed. So if I turn the tone up to halfway, and for the clean stuff, now this is no longer the stock amp, as you can hear. See what that negative feedback thing does. It's been a couple of years since I heard this amp. Kind of subtle. So I don't know how much that is going to translate for this little lav mic. I'll see if I have time to set up with the real mic, though. You know, it's a fun little thing now. I've got some stuff ringing out. I need to make sure that the speaker's tight and the baffle's tight. So I'm not quite done, but I'm really close. So here's the completed Bennett with all the changes and rewiring and fixing the nut and cleaning things up quite a bit. And the Pro Junior, which is not a stock Pro Junior, it's got a lot more gain and a different tone stack. Much more of a tweedy kind of thing now. It's got the stock 10-inch speaker. I'd love to change that out. The one that's in there is kind of on the nasal side, but it is what it is. And the Bennett came out really well. It's a good looking guitar. Plays great. Sounds good. Let's see how it sounds through this amp. New strings, still got a little bit of stretch left in them. Turn the volume up a bit more and treble the tone down a bit more. That's with the amp tone at about 1 o'clock. Let's put that down closer to 10 o'clock. And if I turn the gain up a little bit more, turn the tone down on the guitar. Very fun, raunchy combination. If you're into Stonesy things, a lot of good lives in that pairing. So I think the owner will be a little bit on the overjoyed side to get this back. So that does it for this edition of Fixing My Friend's Rig.